are back. We are back, folks. Welcome back to the Know It All podcast. I am your gracious host, Quick Jigs. I want to thank everyone for joining today. We're going to run through a few different topics, going through a different format today. But what I really want to do is, first of all, show a gratitude. I've been pushing out a lot of shorts over the course of the last month. I've been able to plus up. Proud of having over 250 subscribers. I do appreciate it because having 250 people interested in hearing what you have to say is a big deal. I know with the skew of social media and everyone wants to be the biggest influencer and so forth, it's easy to not appreciate having 250 plus people who see value in what you have to share. So start off with some gratitude. We're going to run through some different topics today. To give you some formatting that's coming up. Going to have some guest hosts, including the most creative and talented person that I've ever met. My sister, Tracy Jiggets, will be joining me on future shows. I'll also have the one of the co-hosts of the Transparency podcast, Big O, will be joining me down the road and on the future as well. And then we're going to have other guests. We'll try to get into some topics, some controversial things, but just some things that are running through my mind that I want to express to the people. So again, as always, please like, comment, and subscribe, and we're going to get started. Now, this is the 15th episode of the Know It All podcast. This is an official episode because I've been putting out other types of content as well, and it's a few different pieces of content I want to run through. One thing I want to start off with and touch on is the asshole who owns a building or a group of buildings in Delaware and the ordeal that he's dealing with. And that's no other than Dr. Umar Johnson. It just baffles me that so many Black people especially are vested in this guy at this point. Okay. Just because someone is a talented speaker, an orator, even if he makes points that you agree with from time to time, at some point you have to ask yourself, what is he actually contributing to the well-being of the community? He claims to be all about Black folks. He claims to be Afrocentric or, all the litany of titles he gives himself and aliases. And what it ultimately comes down to, either show up or shut up. At some point, you have to say to yourself, where's the school? Where's the online curriculum? Where's the educational format that you're building for Black boys and eventually for Black girls? And if he can't show you that, you have to ask yourself, why does he deserve your money? And you can't live in this world where you can't criticize Black people who don't seem like they're being good stewards of folks' money just because they're Black. They're like always Black people tearing each other down. No, at some point you have to say to yourself, where's the school? For 3 or 4 years, it was the HVAC excuse. The first 3 or 4 years, it was gotta find a building. And then it was the HVAC. And then it's painting. Then it's, claiming that all these contractors are ripping them off. It's always excuse, never any self-ownership, always deflecting. Those are not the type of people that you can trust in this world. The type of people who can't take responsibility for their shortcomings, the type of people who always find somebody else to blame, are not the type of people you should want to support. So now we're in a position, thanks to Leonard Honor and others, where we realize that now he's at risk of losing the buildings, which fits perfectly with the next narrative he's going to bring up. Because the next narrative is going to be like, these hating ass Negroes and these colonizers, the white man, are coming against me. And now they're taking the school from us. Not from me, they're taking the school from us. When his bank accounts first got locked, he claimed it was an attempted hacking from the woman who he has defamed online, who he clearly had relations with. And Leonard Arnold somehow combined forces to hack into his bank. And the bank froze his accounts, didn't give him access to his money, even if he could prove his identity. And he wanted us to believe that it was due to hacking. Then I don't know what's going on. I'll hear back by Friday. Maybe it's Monday. Then this past weekend, he was in Jersey and he spoke about he was going to follow up on Monday. Now, I haven't seen anything come out since then. Today is Tuesday, August the 12th. Haven't seen anything new come out. But what I do know is there is no school. And we've been waiting for a school for a very, very long time. He was on a live, and someone said, I was in fourth grade when you started talking about schools, and now I'm going to my senior year of college. And he blocked them. He blocked them because that doesn't fit the narrative. You have to ask yourself, where is the school? Show me some fruit of your labor. It's always just him in the building. He's sweeping floors. He's looking at paint palettes that he's had for 3 or 4 years, if not longer. There's no school. Just wake up. Say, hey, man, why don't you become an influencer? Just become a full-time influencer. There'll always be a lot of black people that want to hear what you have to say. I don't agree with a lot of his points, especially with his assault on how people choose to conduct their lives, including LGBTQ. If you want to be in an interracial relationship, I don't think it's anybody else's business but the two parties involved. But he still could build a brand and be a powerful voice for the people who want to join his movement. But instead, he continues to tell this lie that he's building a school. And he's the only one building a school. And the only thing that's going to happen is once he loses these buildings, because now apparently he owes almost $40,000 in taxes. Now the government is going to take those schools from him, and it'll give him perfect ammunition to blame the white man and continue to grift black people, traveling all over the world, speaking to people who don't care to peel back the onion and ask, what is he really doing? It's embarrassing. We really, really need to do better. But I just wanted to touch on that topic because this is just a constant unfolding thing. And I peeped game maybe 18 years ago because I realized there was a lot of inconsistency in the stories he was telling and a lot of fluff, a lot of head movies where when you see someone reeling off 19 different ideas to go towards one goal, you know they're just head movies. It's not action. You just have lots of dreams. You can't trust a person who just has a bunch of dreams. You know, the person who just let me hold $1,000, man. I'm gonna turn it into 100,000 because I got this great plan to do X, Y, Z. Those aren't the type of people that execute plans. The type of people who execute plans make a decision, follow the decision, makes mistakes, corrects the mistakes, goes on forward, makes more mistakes, corrects those mistakes. It's not the person who just talks, and just is overselling on everything. But listen, don't take my word for it. Ask yourself, where's the school? And if you're going to be like him, just say, well, because black people haven't given him enough money. If I told you that he raised that minimum $1 million and he has nothing to show for it, what are you going to say? He could have leased a building a long time ago. He could have started an online course during COVID. It was the perfect opportunity. But he doesn't really want to bring those goals to fruition because he's not a person capable of doing it. He's just a person full of head movies that has convinced a lot of other people that his head movies are relevant, and they are not. And that's all I'm gonna say on that topic. I'm gonna move on. Comment, tell me your feelings, your sentiment, the ones that are part of the Ifa Tunde kingdom that want to come in and tell me how wrong and dumb and much of a hater I am. Please feel free. It is welcomed. It is welcomed. Now, one of my most favorite things to talk about is religion and politics. Everyone else says those are the two things you're supposed to avoid, you're not supposed to talk about, but those are the two things that I like to talk about. I am a proud atheist. I was a devout Christian for 30 years of my life. And then I was a pretend Christian, I tell people, for about 5 years, because around the time that I read the entire Bible from cover to cover 2 times, and I concluded that I couldn't reconcile the inconsistencies, the contradictions, and so forth. I was embarrassed and afraid to admit it because I didn't want to be judged. I didn't want my family to shun me. Luckily enough, I had a family that, at least to my face, they showed me nothing but love continuously, and nothing really changed. But for about 5 years, I faked it as if I was still a believer because of that actual fear. And that leads me to the second topic here is what does it mean to be an atheist? Now, atheism, in its most simplest terms, is just simply a lack of belief in a deity, a higher power. or higher powers for those that believe in polytheism. Now, typically, because I love to debate and love to argue, when I get into a conversation, I get into a debate with a theist and they're trying to define who I am and what I believe, they'll go to things like the Big Bang Theory or evolution. And while it may be an indicator that an atheist accepts evolution and accepts the Big Bang, there's not a direct correlation because atheism is a singular response to a singular question. Do you believe in a deity? If you believe in a deity, you are a theist. If you don't believe in a deity, you are an atheist. It's that simple. But being an atheist in Black America is especially challenging because Black people are so deeply threaded in their religion, their Christian faith. No matter the denomination, it doesn't matter that there are 45,000 different Christian denominations. When it comes to the Black American church, whether you're Kajic or Jehovah's Witness or Baptist or non denominational or Black Catholic or whatever it may be, it is foundational. It is part of life. You say grace at cookouts, you say grace on holidays, you say grace on a daily basis. When something big is happening, like a family member's going off to college, you say a prayer over them. You get a new house, you get a new car, you ask for blessings on that house and that car. It is so well threaded into our identity in Black American culture that to not be aligned with that culture is an incredible challenge. And a lot of times, those who don't care to understand atheism, they'll assume that you're some sort of rebel. You know, you're attempting to stand up against the injustices that you've perceived. Maybe you were wronged by an actual member of the church or a pastor or church leader, choir director, and you've blamed the entire church. Where the majority of atheists that I've come across are people who were feverishly fighting for their faith. They did not want to leave their faith. And I see this from white evangelicals, former white evangelicals as well. They didn't want to leave their faith. They didn't make a conscious decision, oh, now I can get away with sinning. If I wanted to get away with sinning, I would remain a Christian because I would believe that all I had to do was with whole heart ask for forgiveness and I would be forgiven. So one doesn't leave Christianity to have an excuse to sin, to have an excuse to do wrong. Okay, there are plenty, and by plenty I mean the majority of people who have been convicted of crimes are believers in the Christian God. So one doesn't leave to have freedom to get away with things. Again, the pastor who inappropriately touches children or sleeps with church members or cheats on their spouse or steals or embezzles money, they have the coverage that they can ask for forgiveness. And not only will a lot of times the congregation forgive them for these wrongs, but they will feel confident that their God has forgiven them for those wrongs. So ask yourself, why would an atheist leave the church just to get away with sinning? But the point of this segment is really just to touch on a lot of people who are not atheists like to paint a picture of what an atheist is. Even if you watch movies, one of my favorite movies to laugh at is God's Not Dead because they created this whole caricature of an atheist that you're not an atheist if you hate God. You're a believer in God who hates God. Atheists don't hate God. They don't believe in God. Now, atheists might hate the character of God the same way Marvel fan might hate the character of Thanos. You know, I hate that character. I don't like that character. You know, it think of any movie, any show, any book that you love, and whoever is the enemy of the hero of the book, you might hate that person so much that you would hate them in real life if you had an opportunity to cross paths with them. That is the only level of hate that an atheist can have for God because they don't believe in God. So again, they might hate the character of the book, but not the actual existence because they don't believe he's real. So again, these characters that people create in their minds or in books and movies are just straw men that they create to prop up the inconsistencies in their Bible. And before you come in and tell me you're going to pray for me or I'm lost or all these other things, do me a favor and be intellectually honest with yourself. Read your entire Bible from cover to cover. Notice I'm not giving you a third party book to read. I'm not saying read this Richard Dawkins book or read this book or you know look at this paper by this atheist scientist or something. No, I'm telling you to read your own book from cover to cover and tell me if that sounds like the picture of a good, all-knowing, omnipotent, omnipresent God that we are told about every Sunday in church. It won't be. And I also bet you won't do it because it's too much work. You rather get the fluff and get the good stories that they're going to tell you at church on Sunday. And it is what it is. We're going to keep it moving. Now, today again is August 12th, 2025. And the bozo in the White House that so many people willfully elected federalized the DC Metropolitan Police Force and deployed National Guard to DC to help save DC from all this crime. The crime that has reached a 30-year low. A 30-year low. No Epstein list. The cult is so powerful that not only is there no Epstein list to be released, but they've been through like a little bit of red meat at his followers. Some of them are excited because Obama appointed judge denied the request to release the court docs, and they've used that as a red herring to say, what's going on here? What are they hiding? We're talking about the list, okay? And whether they want to admit it or not, because the ones who support that guy are in a cult. Best friends for 15 years. A proud womanizer, cheated on all three of his wives. All three. Multiple baby mamas, kids, all over the place. He has verbally on radio, so where he knew he was being recorded, talked about objectifying women, talked about going backstage at Miss Teen USA, and because he has access, because he owns it. He's talked about all these components that make him interested in all the things that Epstein was projecting. But you want me to believe that while they live down the street from each other in Florida, and they live down the street from each other in Manhattan, they both love women, both love young girls, that their mutual interests never cross paths. Okay, let's say you're right. At minimum, he's Joe Paterno, where he was aware of something and kind of looked the other way. And at best, he participated. Nonetheless, I want the list. I don't care if Obama, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, insert important Democrat, insert important Republican, insert my favorite celebrity, my favorite musician, my favorite actor. I don't care who's on the list. We can let the court of public opinion decide their consequences. Some people might have just been associates. Some people might have participated. Release the list. Release the list. But they won't. And they've convinced their followers to look the other way. And now he already was invincible. Because if any other person looking for a prominent place, especially in politics, was caught on a hot mic saying, I like to grab women by the P word, and they let me do it because I'm a celebrity, their public career would be over. But he's Teflon, and it is what it is, and they can deny it until they're blue in the face, but we all see the reality of what reality he created. Let's see if I can say reality one more time. There I go. Something that really annoys me is how Black people address the so-called Illuminati. Do I know if there is or isn't an Illuminati? No. Do I believe that there are really, really rich people who are influencing the decisions that Parliament in the UK or Congress in the United States or insert state or federal government in any given country, the decisions they make, especially around banking and manufacturing and so forth. Of course, I think much of it's public. I don't think it's this dark group that's sworn to secrecy, but let's say it is. One thing that really annoys me about the prospect of the Illuminati is it's always black people who get the accusation. Like there's no actual black person who can be successful without an accusation of being an Illuminati. If you're a successful black musician, actor, elite, Fortune 100, whatever the scenario, there's going to be somebody claiming that you are Illuminati. And what annoys me about that is I at least don't see that same reflection when it comes to successful white musicians or successful white actors. And it makes me wonder why black people are so hell-bent on believing the narrative that they can't achieve anything without extraordinary third-party help. I don't think they realize that's what they're saying, but that's what they're saying. They're saying there's no way you could have gotten here without the help of this satanic group. This evil kebab. There's this evil organization. It just blows my mind. What if that person was both talented, networked with the right people, got the right opportunity, and took advantage of it? And gasp, worked really hard at their skill, worked really hard at their craft, and got really good at it. Now, there's a lot of luck involved in becoming successful, being at the right place at the right time. Again, getting the right person to give you the right opportunity. There's people who have sacrificed perhaps their dignity to get places. We know there are people, male and female, who give up sexual favors to get an opportunity. But that's not the Illuminati. And that's not all parties. Sometimes people just took advantage of an opportunity and leveraged it and did well. So I just wish black people would take a step back and realize how exceptionally exceptional we are and how we can achieve things without the help of a secret society to push us over the edge. And that's all I have to say about that. And so I want to wrap up here because it is the most wonderful time of year. I know I got my NBA hat on, but NFL is here. As of 2 weeks ago, we won't have another Thursday without football until February. So this is the most wonderful time of year. And I want to run through my NFL predictions. For those who don't know, I'm in Baltimore. You understand? We Ravens over here, baby. We Ravens over here. And these are my predictions. The Ravens will win the AFC North. The Ravens' record will be 14-3. The Ravens will make it to, at minimum, the AFC Championship. The big game after that, I don't like to say the name of that game when it comes to my team. For those lifetime Ravens fans, we know when we had to run in 2000, we referred to it as Festivus. R.I.P. to Tony Saragusa, but we refer to it as Festivus. So, my hope is that the Ravens make Festivus, but I'm just talking about divisional winners. Ravens will win the AFC North. Surprise, my first surprise alert. The Patriots will win the AFC East. Yes, the Patriots will win the AFC East. We got the Patriots for the AFC East. When it comes to the AFC West, I can see. I'm not going to play. Chiefs going to win it again. I wanted to say that I feel like the Chargers could make a run, but yeah, Chiefs will win the AFC West. When it comes to the AFC South, I would like to see. So, I'm a Travis Hunter fan. I would like to see him be like a difference maker to make the Jags winners. But I think the Texans will be poised and the Texans will pull out that division. I wouldn't mind seeing Cam Ward make the Titans, you know, play really well too. But I really think Houston wins that. So for the AFC, it's going to be the Patriots for the AFC East, the Chiefs for the AFC West. Clock this: the Ravens for the AFC North, and the Texans for the AFC South. Now, when it comes to the NFC East, I want the Commanders to win it. Obviously, the Eagles are their biggest competition. The Cowboys are going to be what the Cowboys are, and the Giants are just, a terrible franchise. But so I'm going to go with the Commanders to win the NFC East. When it comes to the NFC West, so my best friend, Big O of the Transparency Podcast, his favorite team is the 49ers. My favorite team until the Ravens came to Baltimore was the 49ers. So I want to say the 49ers are going to win the division, but I really think the Rams are going to pull it out. So I got the Rams winning the NFC West. When it comes to the NFC North, this one is hard to me. My first instinct says the Packers. They have the most talent. They have the most upside. Sorry, they don't have the most talent. Lions have the most talent. But I feel like the Packers have the most potential. But and I think the Lions are due to have kind of a down season. But man, they have so many offensive weapons. I'm gonna go against my instinct, and I'm gonna say the Lions are going to win the NFC North. And then lastly, for the NFC South, this to me is kind of a toss-up. I would like to. I love upsets. I would love to see the Panthers become a relevant team again. But I think if you really break it down, it has to go to the Bucks. That's my prediction. So I have the Bucks for the NFC South, the Lions for the NFC North, the Rams for the NFC West, and the Commanders for the NFC East. Those are my NFL predictions. I love to argue NFL, so I invite you to step up, share your predictions in the comments. Tell me why I'm wrong and I'm stupid and my Ravens suck. And I'm going to tell you why LJ8 is about to get what should have been his fourth MVP. No bullshit. Yeah, so again, much appreciated, everyone, for listening. I'm running through topics fast. I just wanted to touch on some things. Like I said, we got some exciting updates coming down the pike between guest hosts. The Amtrak train is going to be loud, so I'm going to pause this for just a moment. Like I was saying, we got some exciting things coming down the pike. Looking forward, but in the meantime, I would much appreciate if you would like, comment, share, subscribe, and check me out on TikTok. It's in the comment section. Appreciate the support. Feel free to suggest some topics I can talk about, and most importantly, tell me why I'm wrong on everything. Comment. Tell me why I'm an idiot. We'll see how that goes. Have a great day. On purpose.